Today we're talking about some pretty big stuff
Big
here.
stuff. Yeah.
Inventory levels. So hit us with our title and what the subject is today.
Oh my gosh. So, our title on
Big deep breath you
I was
just
like,
took
what
there.
title do you want me?
I'll say it. Housing inventory update. That's the purpose here because inventory levels, as you know,
Yeah.
you're tired. Listen, you've shown like 40 houses in the last 2 days alone.
Yeah, it was insane.
Insane. Why is inventory so down? Let's compare it to last year and this year and give some insight.
Absolutely. So we actually got a really cool map that we're going to put up for you guys to take a look at the whole nation to see kind of where we're at. So Oregon, we are at number 3 in the state for lowest inventory. We are currently over 57% less than last year for inventory.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So normally around this time of year, on average, we've got about 2.5 to 3 months worth of inventory, which means if we stop selling houses today, we're going to be out of houses in 3 months. Right now, we're at 3 weeks. So no more houses in 3 weeks if we stop listing. So I need some sellers to start listing their houses because we've got a lot of buyers and not enough sellers.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
This brings me back to some of the earlier episodes of living in Portland. You know, when Jackson and Jesse were doing their like, oh yeah, the hand moves.
Yeah, the hand move.
Pretty sure those are patented dance.
They are. I think. Yeah. They got the skills out on the boardwalk.
Well, right before producer Josh started this, Lissy was like, "Are you gonna make fun of me or something?" Because I gave you that.
You
good
did.
luck.
You gave me the look like you were just gonna. Yeah. What?
Well,
What are
I
you
was
doing?
looking at your coffee. I was like, that is like 37 ounces of turbo juice.
Yes. This is a quad.
It's not labeled. Where do you get your coffee? I'd like to
my-
know that. People relocating to Portland want to
right.
hear where Heather Listy gets her coffee.
I get it from Coffee Rush. I love me some Coffee Rush.
And where is Coffee Rush located? Because our peeps don't know where that is.
So I love Coffee Rush. It's like one of those like drive-through. You know, they don't have like a shop that you like go and sit in. So it's like a drive-through, like in parking lots. throughout the
Oh,
Heartland
so yeah,
market.
they have like a hut, and then the cars come up in order, and then you go
Yes.
horseshoe it to
Yes,
pick up. Got it.
Absolutely. So I go to the one, I live in Beaverton. I go to the one, I live on the border of Beaverton, Tigard. And this one's on Shoals Ferry Road in Tigard, but it's like Beaverton. However, I love them. This is what's so great about them. So Bree, the manager out there, they have, I mean, you go to some coffee shops and there's just a line of people and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't got time. And you leave because it's so, sometimes you're waiting on, you don't want to walk into the coffee shop, like, because you don't want to wait in line. So you go in the drive-through to wait. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Anyways, long story short, literally if there's like 2 or 3 cars in front of me, they see me, they walk out of the hut and
VIP.
come hand me my coffee while I'm in line, like 3 cars behind. And then
That
sometimes
is customer service.
it is. This morning, literally, I drive up and they just hand me my cup. I love it.
Whoa.
I love it. What's great is they kind of keep little, like a gift card, and I just reload that gift card, so I don't have to like pay.
You're
each
repeat
time.
business. You're a repeater.
I'm a repeater.
That's a term.
I'm a repeater, actually.
we've
Yeah, every
coined.
day. Yeah, sometimes twice a day. I run on coffee.
You do. Well, you're out there showing a lot of homes in a very, very hot market,
Yeah.
which to pull it
Right.
back together before we become coffee talk
Yeah.
specialists, but the Living in Portland channel, which is huge. I'm loving how many people are coming to our area listing, and you have the insight, boots on the grounds.
Yeah.
I'm more in like the bird's nest, and you tell me what to do on the lending side. But today we're talking about some pretty big stuff
Big
here.
stuff. Yeah.
Inventory levels. So hit us with our title and what the subject is today.
Oh my gosh. So, our title on
Big deep breath you
I was
just
like,
took
what
there.
title do you want me?
I'll say it. Housing inventory update. That's the purpose here because inventory levels, as you know, you're tired. Listen, you've shown like 40 houses in the last 2 days alone.
Yeah, it was insane.
Insane. Why is inventory so down? Let's compare it to last year and this year and give some insight.
Absolutely. So we actually got a really cool map that we're going to put up for you guys to take a look at the whole nation to see kind of where we're at. So Oregon, we are in number 3 in the state for lowest inventory. We are currently over 57% less than last year for inventory.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So normally around this time of year, on average, we've got about 2.5 to 3 months worth of inventory, which means if we stop selling houses today, we're going to be out of houses in 3 months. Right now, we're at 3 weeks. So no more houses in 3 weeks if we stop listing. So I need some sellers to start listing their houses because we've got a lot of buyers and not enough sellers.
Yeah, and I think just to summarize what you just said there, for all you people that are planning to move to Portland or Southwest Washington, one of the biggest things is you probably know, looking at this map here, that it's a hot market. Inventory is down. Demand is up, and it's super high. People want to move, and it's the same here, really. If you're coming from, say, Texas or Arizona, 44 to 56, and that's right in the ballpark of our 57. So I think people get somewhat surprised. They might be moving thinking, oh, it's going to be easier out there. But it is relatively the same. And according to the map, unless you're in New York, it's the only blue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's lots of houses available in New York.
So the basic concept is supply is down, demand is up, which drives prices up and makes it a lot harder to get into contract, right?
Really hard. It's super competitive, and you have to be really creative to stand out. It's not just about price. Like,
good point.
You got to stand out to these sellers to get your offer accepted, because it's not, you're not up against 3 people. You're up against 18, 19 offers. So how do you stand out?
Well, tell us about, you just had a most recent listing. Give us a little insight on that.
Absolutely. This is a perfect example of what's going on in the market. So we had a great listing. We actually happened to sell this house just over a year ago in November of 2019 to these great buyers. Unfortunately, for unseen reasons, they have to sell the home. So the house that they purchased in 2019, November of 2019, was $499,000.
$499.
Yep, $499.
Writing it down.
So they purchased the house at $508.
508.
Yep, 508 is what the
accepted offer.
The accepted offer was at 508.
Got it.
Now the sellers did do some repairs, just over about $5,000 in repairs.
$5,000 in repairs.
Yep,
Got
exactly. And they did have approximately about $5,000 in closing costs covered by the seller as well.
Okay, another 5. So 10 grand.
10 grand.
And all those people out there, that's called concessions.
Exactly.
So the sellers are contributing 10 grand toward that purchase.
Yep.
So they essentially bought the house at $498.
Perfect.
1 grand under.
1 grand under. Boom. Exactly. Now, let's fast forward 14 months to today, where we're going to list this house.
Time machine.
Time machine. Now, keep in mind, this house, it was built in 2000. It has original roof, original systems like HVAC, air conditioning.
I know this
water
house.
heater.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's a beautiful house. But it does have some older systems that are going to, sooner than later, need some deferred maintenance, maybe some replacing, things like that. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. We list it for just over 8% higher in appreciation. So we're listing it for $549. Well, we did list it for $549.
Woza.
So yeah, that's not bad. I mean, think about a year's time. It
Not bad.
appreciated 8%. That's pretty good. Most sellers, if they had to sell a year later, are losing money. So we list it. We get multiple offers. We got 8 offers on the home. The highest offer that came in was $605. $605. However, we didn't accept the $605. The buyers chose to accept the offer that stood out.
This brings hope to everybody.
Hope.
Highest offer doesn't always win.
It doesn't always win. But what the winning offer was at $600, but they waived the appraisal. And they also are accepting the house in as-is condition and are not asking for any repairs. And they noted that they, could see that the roof, is original, and some of these systems, are in need of some deferred maintenance. It's a great house, but they are noting that. So that kind of made them stand out above the rest. So let's talk about that. That puts us selling that house. It appreciated over 18% in 1 year.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's really, really great inflation. In a short amount of time, there's not too many things outside of having the wherewithal to know to invest in GameStop this year, that would match a better investment. That's huge appreciation.
Yeah, huge.
So the biggest thing, though, I want to take away from that and communicate with our viewers and everyone that's planning to move to the Portland and Southwest Washington area is, how do we be competitive in this type of market? Because yeah, we can try as many times, but if you're not trying the right way, it's a waste of time. So we actually have a very dynamic approach that I can't say guarantee, but often is proved to put you in that top 3 considered of all the offers, right, Listy?
Yeah.
One example that comes to mind was a recent listing we had out on the west side, kind of Beaverton area, and this particular unit had an HOA.
Yes.
But
great townhome.
Yep.
I love this community.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And we had actually had the opportunity a year prior, another relocation from the channel, the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We had closed the transaction very smoothly. And what did we do? Give them our approach on our patented approach, if you will.
Yeah. So I think it's really important we work together as a team. But when we made this offer, just the reach out to the agent, not just by me, you know, representing our client, but you as the lender, you were the only lender in the multiple offer situation to reach out to the listing agent and talk about our experience, you know, not only with our client representing him and how, you know, he definitely was qualified and, you know, we were ready to rock and roll, but we've sold in this community. We're familiar with the HOA. We don't, you know, we've done our due diligence.
And to jump in on there, we talk about reaching out all the time, and I'm sure it gets really repetitive for the viewers. But in hindsight, that HOA was killer because people who are buying a home don't really understand how HOAs work because it's kind of complicated and it feels unnecessary, but it is necessary to get the mortgage and get the lending side of it done.
And it changes a lot.
It changes a lot.
HOAs can really screw you.
Well, and to shorten it up, essentially, and I'm not trying to get too far off course here, but when you have an HOA in a situation, all of the papers for the HOA get reviewed by the mortgage company, specifically the underwriter. We'll review, make sure it's a healthy HOA. And that really does actually not only protect the investor, but it protects the buyers too. We don't want them to get into a poorly managed HOA situation.
Yes.
However, back to the story, what was awesome about that is we had a current sale that we had done, Listy and I, as well as my team, which you'll never see on here because they are operations. They're not on video. They're processing loans, underwriting. Our team had successfully closed with that HOA. So the sellers found that to be a huge value add. Yeah. And it wouldn't have been identified if our team approach hadn't been so refined that we knew to look and trigger and communicate.
Absolutely.
It won the offer for sure.
Yeah. It did win the offer.
That just closed yesterday, right?
You calling the agent and reaching out and letting him know that we had worked with this HOA before was a big deal.
And I think, too, to elaborate, too, on the, it's really important to work. We live and thrive in relocating people here.
Yes.
You are often, how many houses did you go see this last weekend? How many did you show?
I don't have the exact amount, but I know it was over 30.
You were out during the snowstorm.
I did. We had that crazy ice storm, and buyers be crazy and want to go out. And you know, I have my little all-wheel drive, car. I got around. It was fine. They show up in a two-wheel drive car, and I'm like, what?
The power went out at my house, and you called me on a Sunday, and we were talking numbers, and you're like, I'm out showing this house. I'm pulling up, and I'm looking outside. We had gotten 9.5 inches of snow, which is very rare. Does not happen very often in Portland. I think the first time 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were out there even in the storm. It was crazy.
Because I wanted to take advantage of it. I figured, hey, you know what? It's a competitive market.
Do you feel like that stopped people?
Beat these people that can't get out to see houses. Let's make some offers. That's what I was about. I was taking care of my people because I was like, hey, it's a competitive market. Let's take advantage. There are the people that can't get out. That's how my brain thinks.
How do you feel, not to get too far up, but with the storm and then the snow, do you feel like offers went down for a short amount of time, or was it just as competitive?
No, it was just as competitive. That house that we went to go see during the ice storm, we went in way over asking. We did everything right. We tried to stand out. But, yeah, they had 12 offers come in. It didn't stop anybody.
That's just
it was
insane.
It was insane. I was a little disappointed we didn't get that one. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just keep pushing through.
Keep pushing through.
I think what the most important thing, though, with planning, right? We can do all this stuff, but what's so great about our system and getting people here in a smooth manner is we just check as many boxes before and alleviate stress. This is a huge thing right now, because when it's this competitive, you got to be ready for volume offers. Yeah. You really do right now. And until the inventory goes up, I don't really see it changing too much. Do you, Listy?
No, I don't see it. Not changing anytime soon.
So let's take a quick call. How would people get a hold of us? Because
absolutely,
I know Jackson and Jesse do, usually the whole
send us a text,
the patented.
Give us an email.
We just can't do that like that.
No, we can't. We can't do that. But definitely reach out to us by phone, text, email. Send that pigeon carrier if you want to. Snail mail. Absolutely. No matter how you want to do it, we're here. We're ready to assist you guys. But I would absolutely love to set up a Zoom call with you guys. That's what we do to get the process started with you guys. I want to learn about you. Where are you living? Right. What's important to you in a neighborhood and a home? Is this a 5-year house? Is this your forever home? Do you have kids? Do you need to work, do you need to live near good schools? Like, let's talk about that. We just want to have a conversation about what your wants and needs are and why are you moving? We just want to have a casual conversation. And that's kind of how we started. So the first thing, reaching out so we can just have
and to elaborate on what you just said, because I love that, the casual conversation, but really we're answering a lot of questions by just getting to know you. So it's not intimidating, but all these little questions are for a reason. Do you have kids? What is your weekend lifestyle like? Do you go camping? Or we had one yesterday, they were saying how outdoorsy they were. And I was like, well, outdoorsy to me is literally taking my 6-pound dog for a walk twice a day. That is me getting...
You totally said that. I was dying laughing. It's true, though.
It's true. Yeah. I got fresh air.
You got fresh air.
It was fantastic.
You're like, I walked Barron 2 blocks around and I got out for my...
I saw many trees and I stepped not on concrete.
Right. I went in the grass. Right.
But to some people, that is really like, hey, I'm going to be going to Hood River in the spring. I'm going to be hitting Mount Hood in the winter. I'm going to be going to the coast. I'm really not going to be home. It's so different. So we really do, because that's how we distill down the quadrants to advise on what neighborhoods would be best, right, Listy?
Absolutely. It depends. Every quadrant of the Portland metro area is completely different. And that's a lot of these Zoom calls when we're just kind of getting to know you is what you're looking for. We just want to help you. But you have so many questions, not just about houses and neighborhoods, but sometimes you have those, lending questions. You're moving across this, across the nation, or just, moving up from California. Like, those questions come up. So we're here to answer all of those questions and, make you feel a little bit more at ease and get the process started. It's scary to think about relocating and having to buy a home from out of state.
It is. It is. And really, we live in our life is the environment of relocating people to Portland and Southwest Washington.
Is it not weird when we get somebody that's local? We're like, what do we do?
Wait, you already live here?
You live here? What do you mean?
It is.
Like, well, it's really odd.
Yeah, we have had a couple of people recently who reached out. Yes. They've relocated here to rent or lease for 6 to 12 months, which happens from time to time. And then they come back on the train. And choo-choo.
I know. I love it.
I just said choo-choo.
You did say choo-choo. You did say choo-choo. And those people that are here living now that reached back out, those are the people that went out in the ice storm, just so you know. Well, some
dedicated.
of them. We have lots of people. Yeah, but I just wanted.
We should get you a snowmobile to go show homes.
That'd be awesome.
Hey,
Jesse, J-Ray, Jesse and Jackson, I would like a snowmobile.
Request from Listy.
Yeah.
I'd say go just to conclude kind of that initial meeting and the importance of getting to know you so that we can kind of identify different areas that would be best for your lifestyle, your goals, and your family, but also that financial piece. We can alleviate quite a bit of stress by breaking down some of those financial concerns. What are the variables, right? What could impact the cost for the move by $5,000 to $10,000? Would I be able to put a little less down and have savings and pay for the move, or maybe upgrade a house? These are all really important things. And I enjoy that part of it, because we've had a lot of people who, after that first call, is like, oh, I feel so much better.
Yes.
They've got a team here they can trust. They understand, the agents are out there working their butts off for them and acting in their best interest. And then there's really like one or two financing questions that are specific to them that were answered right there.
Absolutely.
Oh, can I do 7% instead of 8% and save a few grand and pay for this? Do I pay off my car or do this? Or what about property taxes on the east side and the west side? So that alleviates a lot of stress for people.
I will say, I don't think we have had one Zoom call, and we do hundreds of Zoom calls. I don't even know how many, but we've done hundreds and hundreds of them. But I don't think we've had one that hasn't had some type of financing question in some sort of way. Like, there's always a question that comes up. So I love that you're a huge part of our team, and always there to be able to help and assist.
Yeah, a lot of little questions, like the down payment one's been really big. And so we're probably seeing a majority of people who don't have 20% down. They're doing that 5 to 10.
Yep.
That's very average out here. So a lot of people that might be moving from more expensive markets think that they need 20, 30, 40% down to be competitive. And that is not true. Yeah. Down payment doesn't play as much of a role in the decision-making process to accept an offer as many people think in other markets. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
I'm just getting confirmation.
No,
We're usually on
I
the same
will say
page.
in a multiple bid like crazy, sometimes you will look to see, hey, what is their down payment?
Yeah.
I mean, we absolutely, as agents, do look at those things and show our sellers, hey, let's look.
Yep.
Well,
and I'd say the second most financial thing that we've been discussing as of late is the rental thing. There's a lot of people that want to start building a portfolio of rental properties, and they're not planning to stay in this house for 10 or 15 years. They're planning for 2 to 3. They're going to retain it, rent it, and then utilize the advantages of buying another primary residence because it's better interest rate, better lower down payment options that don't come with the investment side, and grow out a portfolio. And since I've done this personally, it is a great conversation. I love talking about different areas for appreciation opportunities, different rental opportunities, and building out a custom spreadsheet so that when we are running numbers for our clients, they're also accounting for potential rent and appreciation right on that estimate. It's huge.
It is big.
You always come in with the school stuff too. That is another insight with the renter game.
Right. Well, for the renter game, but also just in general for appreciation.
Yep.
Those areas that have those, great schools, they always tend to appreciate a little bit quicker.
Yeah, location in schools. Yeah. Like there's this location, but it's also sub-bulleted with how good the schools are. Like Lake Oswego.
#1 school district in the state.
What's the number 2?
Riverdale, which is right next to
Lake Oswego.
That's
like a sub Lake Oswego.
Yeah, right.
What's number 3?
Number 3 is going to be your Westland Wilsonville.
Go Lions. I went to Wilsonville.
Yeah, you did.
Wilsonville's a great, man. Wilsonville, just where it's been in the last 20 years. Yeah. Unbelievable growth. We were just talking about Wilsonville with another client yesterday.
So I like Wilsonville.
Wilsonville's great.
It's a little hidden gem. A little bit further outside
What's
of
hidden
Portland.
about it?
Well, it's not hidden, but it's just a little bit further.
It's right off I-5.
But people relocating, it's like
they don't think about it.
They don't think about it.
Yeah.
They don't think about it. It's not.
It's forgotten.
It's forgotten. Yeah, that's what it is. It's forgotten. And it shouldn't be forgotten because it's really great. I do have to say number 4 school district is Sherwood. That's a great
Sherwood. We were talking about Sherwood with another gal just yesterday who wanted something in between of more on the outskirts, but not too far away. Charming little downtown, but lots of little buckets to check. And Sherwood kept coming top of mind. A little more land, great schools, still newer schools, charming, restored downtown, kind of like what Westland's done, where it retains that old
historic.
Yeah, what do you call that? Where it's like a facelifted, historic, preserved. Read my mind for me.
A relive. It's a
relived.
I don't know.
We need to come up with a term. Facelift sounds so
revamped. There you go.
Revamped, restored. No, that's wrong.
Restored.
Historically
restored because it keeps its historic charm.
Preserves the integrity.
Exactly. There we go. I think we smoothed that one out. We got it.
It's still a little rough, but yeah, no, Sherwood's a great one, but it's getting it more expensive. That's a very desirable spot, right?
lays right on the edge of wine country. So yes, it is. It is a little spendy.
To get Listy excited.
Yeah. And then the top suburb, Beaverton, school district number 5 in the state.
That's number 5.
I would like to say go Beavers because that's where I
I didn't even know. I was born and raised here. I didn't know that Beaverton were the Beavers.
You didn't know it was the Beaverton Beavers?
No.
A little disappointed.
They weren't in my league. It was a different league.
Different league.
Oh, well, what is there's Sunset. They're the
Apollos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
what's an Apollo? I know that's some Greek mythology there.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
I think it's like I was going to say some guy with a sword.
Poseidon?
I don't know.
Now I'm thinking.
Don't ask me.
How are we getting into mascots? But let's I think the main point, though, is on that call, we review, get to know you, customize our approach and insight, become your trusted team. It's huge. It's huge. We alleviate a lot of maybe financial concerns, answer questions right away. No back and forth, this or that. Blah, 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 blah. So very effective.
It's very effective. But I also want to let people know we're very casual on these calls. Casual. We're very candid. A lot of people are nervous to ask questions they think they shouldn't ask. Please ask them. I will be very candid with you guys. And we just keep it open. But yeah, we've got our dogs. We're usually at home doing these Zoom calls. I've got dogs barking, in the background. My doorbell's ringing. Like, it's just, that's the world we live in. We're all working from home. But just
I got another contractor at the door, Addie. Just 1 second.
Yeah. I just want you guys to know, like, it's not this uptight Zoom call. Like, oh my gosh, I have to have all my notes. And like, I got to be, no, it's super casual. Like, the dog's usually on my lap. Like, just so you guys know, keep it easy.
Yeah. And it's nice to get to know these people too. Cause like, we become friends with a lot of the people we work with. So it's really important that we build that relationship and we make sure you're also not an internet stalker.
Right? Yeah.
We got to be careful.
We do. I love the friendships that we have. Although I did get the title of Mama Bear from one of our clients. So I did become a Mama Bear.
You are the ultimate Mama Bear.
I love that relationship with that client. I love the relationship with all the clients, but to get that title meant a lot.
Totally.
They knew I was taking care of them. So.
Let's roll to our concluding micro segment.
Yes.
And let's see, I just wanted to review to close out, 2 main things that we say always on the intro is we got to hear about the employment thing.
Employment. Yeah.
Because that's one of the first things we have to hash out, right?
Yes. And really fast, I would probably say the number 1 topic that comes in like when talking to people is they want to know about remote work. And they're like, oh, well, I get to work remote right now. It's going to be for at least another 6 months, 8 months. So I think, we're going to move to Oregon. We can get more for our money there. It'll be great. It's really important. You have got to have a letter from your employer saying it's indefinite.
Yeah.
Like you need to have indefinite remote work. So important. And so many people miss that. So we don't want to, crash and burn anyone's dreams, but we have to make it reality and make sure you understand that about employment.
And I would say as we've progressed further through this pandemic year, 12 months, now we're on 2021, but in the last year, I've seen employers become more flexible than even just 4 to 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing employers who are making the statement letter either on a case-by-case basis or company-wide. So I wouldn't be afraid to ask for that it's a box you got to check.
Yep.
The second one would be to sub-bullet employment would be if you're self-employed, let's have a conversation yesterday.
Yes.
Because it's tax season. There's a lot of important profit and loss figures. The actual income isn't based on the revenue. It's based on the adjusted gross income plus a bunch of other little things.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that you're filing correctly and you're on the right trajectory toward qualifying for what you need on the next home. Lastly, it's the same for remote. You can't have a lemonade stand in Florida and then have qualifying income in Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to laugh because I can't believe I said lemonade stand.
I know. I just had this vision. I was like, lemonade stand? Where's he going with that?
That was
Keep
the
going.
only
You're on
business.
a roll. I want to hear where your lemonade stand's going.
I mean, the point is, I don't want to laugh away the rest of the time we have today, but the main point is your job needs to be remote eligible. So one example of a self-employed business that would work is internet sales. Very common, like an Etsy shop or a retail shop, 100% executed online.
Yes.
You can't have a brick and mortar lemonade stand, and we just can't forecast that income working in Portland or Washington. So people moving businesses that are brick and mortar, you're likely not going to be able to transfer that income over. So you're going to want to have that conversation and be prepared.
Absolutely.
Another one is like therapists or...
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say that. I was like, should I say this? Should I not? We have a buyer that just closed on their home. They happen to be a therapist in Florida, which is fantastic. And the pandemic, they're working remote. They're doing all of their sessions on Zoom, which is fantastic. So that's really hard to have the same clients in Florida to get them in Oregon. But now they're able to do that. But while we are looking, and this was kind of a long, we were like a year out from looking, but they've actually in Florida were able to get placed in a company here in Oregon. So they're actually working for 2 different companies. So they're in Florida. They haven't moved here yet. They're just closed on the house. They'll be moving here shortly. But he's actually working in Florida with people and now working in Oregon with people because it's all remote. So it's, he got creative.
Well, and just not to confuse people, he did have to use alternative financing because of the employment situation.
He did.
We couldn't do it conventionally like everyone else. So I just want to note that.
Yeah, it was a difficult loan to get, but
it got done.
Yeah,
figured it out.
We had that really important conversation about it, which was great. And then they realized, hey, I have to do this a little differently. So it was good. It got done, and I love that he was able to get remote work here as well before he moved. So
I'd say just to close that out, one example was an online tutor. That was a really good one.
Yeah.
But the kicker, guys, most of the time you can answer your question. Get the answer to your question by asking yourself this question. Have you been doing it for 2 years? Because 2 years is the common rule for a lot of mortgage underwriting, the person that finally approves the loan, not someone like me who structures the loan and project manages it, but 2-year history. If you have 2 years history, you've got something to work with for that particular question. So
I think that's important.
So
really good.
Easy takeaway. Lastly, because we are a little bit over our mark on the time, but
because we like to talk.
Yeah, we do, and we have a lot of little banter. We lost some time on that coffee rush story, but it was totally worth it. Yeah. No, it was totally worth it.
It is. Coffee rush is the bomb.
That's totally.
I like it. I'll always talk about that. All right, last one.
I think the biggest one is the opportunity for temp housing, because this is something I've noticed us saying probably the last 30, 40, 50 calls is we've seen a definite shift in people being able to find temporary housing versus signing a big contract. So real quickly, if you're a landlord out here in the Portland Metro, the pandemic has brought forth some very, very challenging landlord laws.
Yes.
So it's really tightened up. Like people who own rentals are really pushing for higher deposits, longer commitments, tightened credit, all this stuff. It's really expensive to rent right now.
They're giving themselves more security.
More security.
They're bringing in a renter.
So what we've done is we've noticed that less people are weekend vacationing. So the Airbnb owners, as well as VRBO owners, what's another one? Vacasa. There you go. We got that one. Yeah. There's a ton of them.
Absolutely.
They're open to signing 30, 60, 90 days. We literally have messaged landlords and been like, hey, would you be open to this? Now, we don't manage rental stuff and we can't do that in the state of Oregon. However, we've worked and advised people to lock in a 30-day, save yourself $4,000 in deposits. You get to maybe explore a quadrant, and it's been super effective.
They love it, and it's really nice. And some of these, Airbnbs and Vacasa and VRBOs, they can negotiate some longer-term rental rates. So one of the other reasons why we're doing that and recommending it is because you have to be competitive in a market, and if you have to sell to buy, you don't want to be contingent in this market. You already want your house sold. So they'll come here for, a month or two, rent an Airbnb while we hit the ground running to get you into contract, just so you guys know that
that's good.
Little piece as well. But yeah, you can, send an email to some of these places and see if you can renegotiate, a different rate, and you'd be surprised because they're struggling. COVID stopped the travel. So they lost their revenue. So they're excited to hear from people that want to rent for 6 weeks.
Super flexible.
8 weeks.
Yeah, one guy was like, it clearly said, no pets, no nothing, and I understand that standard. in messaging him, I said, this client of ours who've now become friends, 4 cats.
4 cats.
They were open to it. They were actually
totally.
like really nice. They're like, for $40, do you think a $40 deposit, just in case something happens? And I'm just like, whoa, that's you're missing a zero on that? No, it's $40.
Yeah, $40. It was good. And it was just a simple email like, hey, would you accept it? Yeah. They needed like 2 nights.
2 nights.
2 nights before they're home. It was great.
Super good episode.
Good.
I'm glad we did.
I think that's a really important, talking about that temp housing.
Yeah, and I think it's time if producer Josh could hit us with some out music here, we can kind of jam our way
Josh.
home. Oh, same as we backend it.
There we go.
Bookend. We backend. That's not.
That was not right.
That was not right. Bookend.
Let's not be a repeater on that one.
Be a repeater. That was a one-time use. Out.
But out. It's out.
Well, Listy, thanks for taking the time. I love that we went over the housing inventory update. This is a big topic of conversation. What you need to know when you're moving to Portland and Vancouver. Please get a hold of myself and Listy, and we can't wait to get to know everybody, right?
Yes. Thanks, you guys. Reach out. Looking forward to talking to you.
This one always makes shimmy, shimmy.
It's a shimmy, shimmy. What you're
Shimmy, shimmy.